names, I don't think, on your titles, which is
My
now
first name.
gonna throw. I'm not seeing your name on the marquee.
Is mine on there? It's coming up on the bottom.
Is it? I have to take down the DOYO Live virtual sessions. Anyway, hey everybody, guess what? We are live on the DOYO Live Marketing Show, presented by iSynergy. Got to pay those bills. Thank you, iSynergy. Really appreciate your annual sponsorship for DOYO Live. I have some very special guests with me today. I chopped their name, which, and if anybody knows me, I'm a complete idiot, and I do that on a regular basis. I say cleaver, but it's clever.
It's okay. You're actually not the only person, so we did not think.
So we share something in common because nobody ever gets DOYO right. So anyway, I've got my good friends Adrian Sable. Did I say your last name right? Sabo. And Tony Marr. Minus Whitney Burr. And they are not new to the marketing game, but their marketing agency has now been around for about 6 months, 5 months, 3 months.
About 3.
About 3 months, not new to the marketing game, but doing some amazing things. You can check them out at workwithclever.com, a really cool website. You can put it in the chat, guys, if you want to. In any case, we wanted to bring them on today. We are going to be talking a few things. We're going to get into what's on tap for 2021. What are you doing? What are you telling your clients? What are you focusing on for your new business, right? An amazing year to start a new business.
Yeah, we planned it perfectly.
Yeah,
you planned it perfectly.
We were like, hey, we really want people to do digital. Let's put a pandemic out there. So that's our goal.
So let's start. Let's kind of start with just some context. Let's talk about your backgrounds a little bit and how you all came together.
Okay. Sure. You want to start, Tom?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, I've myself have been doing marketing in all kinds of sectors for a long time. So originally my background was commercial production, writing, shooting, editing, all of that. And then I got more of a full-time job working for an agency, and, working with that agency, I've met Adrian, and that's how our relationship, came about. Just one of those people that's like, when you click, like we've worked so well together and we fed off each other so well, just developing that friendship and partnership, just like saying like, hey, I completely trust Adrian with everything, which I don't do very often, but with Adrian's a little bit different. And so yeah, I've done it all. I guess you could say, from writing, digital, all of that, and obviously heavy end of the production side. So from ground up production, everything.
Sure. And yourself, Adrian?
Yeah, so I've been in marketing for 12 years now. So I went to school for journalism, realized about halfway through I didn't like that end of it, went the PR route, and then little by little started going more on the creative route, and then realized my strength was really in copywriting and creative direction. And yeah, I met Tony like through some shoots, and yeah, we just I just think we have the same values. Same thing with Whitney. We all have the same values, same things that personally and professionally, like we just really align with one another, and just really thought that there was an area in this market, and I think even broader than that, where just like great creative wasn't really being produced, and like a creative house, like a true one. I feel like there's other great niches for agencies around here that do their things, but we just felt like big idea creative was sort of lacking, and just people who don't want things to look local. They want to look higher end, look like they went to that out of town agency, but they can still get away with like Youngstown prices.
You make so many good points there. Number one, so many people from a journalism perspective over the past 5 to 7 years have made this move into marketing because of the content play. So many people that are copywriters, so many people that were the hours suck. You're in news, you got right, and you're able to make this move over into that. Number two is I agree with you on the creative side. I continually force my people that I work with on the creative. I always say we have to be disruptive, and people get a little bit nervous about that. But we don't have the Mark Wahlberg ads anymore, Calvin Klein, underwear ads, right? Like people are like so afraid everybody's got to play it safe. And I always
Mhm.
say, like, we have got to push the envelope. Like, I'm never happy with the creativity that we come out. Like, we put things out that I'm just like, I really want it to be Banksy, like jarring,
Yeah.
stop, because the world is so noisy. And
Mhm.
one of the biggest compliments that we got from a DOYO Live perspective was in year one, somebody came to the conference and said, we didn't feel like we were at an event in Youngstown. We felt like we were at a New York City event.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so that made me feel like we nailed it, because I know what you mean. Like, you want that Madison Avenue, and your website speaks to that as well.
Thanks.
So is that on? So talk to me a little bit about the development of the website and some of the idea behind the branding of that, and how'd you come up with that?
Yeah, well, I think it started just with like our name in general and just what our whole vibe and aesthetic is. Like, we wanted like a full color palette, while we have our primary logo colors, we wanted a full palette. Whitney, who's not on, is our graphic designer and lead design, and she's just like oozes art. I feel like I've never met somebody who's so artistic. I don't feel like, I think I'm creative, but like Whitney just comes up with these crazy ideas.
She's one of those people that you give the most like easy idea to. You're like, hey, make a circle, and it comes back like amazing. And like, that's what Whitney does.
Yeah, she's great at it. And so, we spent a lot of time working on the site and just trying to come up with just really cool features on it, things that we felt like spoke to who we are, and just to show our capabilities. Because I feel like we could talk about our capabilities, but like your website should be able to express that.
Absolutely.
So.
And so here's what's interesting. Somebody texted me earlier this week when I announced our Facebook Live, and they asked me about your agency, and I said, I don't know, I'll ask. But are you a full service agency beyond branding? Like, obviously you're going to do the creative and you're going to do the branding. You're a full service agency?
Yeah, we're full service. And I have to say, when we started this, we didn't think we'd be doing as much websites as what we are. It is, and I think the pandemic has shifted a lot of people's values and thinking. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more. But we do websites, digital marketing. We do your traditional print. We do your marketing strategy. We do the branding. And then we obviously partner with people on production too. So
it's interesting. It took me 7 years to launch DennisSchiraldi.com in the past 2 weeks. Finally, or 3 weeks, I finally got it out there. We were talking offline. Like, I do more than just DOYO Live. And here's the thing too. Like, people are like, well, you're an agency, you have agencies on, but like, I work out of that abundance mentality, right? Like, not everybody's my best client. And so that's why I love the idea of you all coming on in talking marketing. Typically I utilize this for free consultation as well. So be forewarned. I have smart people on and I pick their brains all the time.
I definitely think like rising tide raises all ships. So I mean,
but it is it's interesting. We've always been in the mindset that we're going to push content through our digital assets to build the audience, and then we obviously do our in-person events. And the world of the web has obviously gotten very noisy because of people had to force to go that route. As you look at coming down the stretch on 2020 and going into 2021, what are some of the pieces of advice that you're giving to your existing clients as to like what directions are you kind of pointing them in, as there's a lot of uncertainty still in the world today?
Yeah, and I think with that, like, there's a pandemic going on. People are in front of their computer, they're on their phone. So it's developing that content, but it's the content that's not directly selling you something. Like you just said, like building those audiences and building those communities. We work with a lot of service-based clients right now. So getting content out there that people could use in their everyday life, even if they're not in that buying mode, put that out there, and then sooner or later, someone's going to need that service. And top of mind is, hey, these people have been helping me out this whole time. They haven't asked me to buy anything from them. You know what? I'm going to try them out. Like that's kind of, one approach that we're definitely working on, lead generation, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people are definitely still budget conscious. So I think a lot of our recommendations come from a point of listening first and figuring out, okay, what's gonna get you the most bang, and you know, what's the best thing. And honestly, right now, digital, it's your CPM's the best with that. But yeah.
And obviously, right? You know, it's been that trend for a long while now, and it's funny how so many people now like kind of like, oh, I'm in content marketing, I'm in inbound, I'm like great, welcome to the party. So I am actually started kicking off a 16-week free boot camp starting. I don't even know, like the terms business coaches. I'm going to piss off business coaches. Who else can I make mad today? I hate the term guru, expert, and boot camp. But we're doing 16 weeks free of DOYO Live starting today at noon. What's your lead gen strategy for 2021? I'm going to kick that off. We're obviously not doing the in-person event. You know, one of the things I'm going to talk about is geography. You know, I've made this decision, and I'm not relying on the Ohio economy. Like I said, I'm working from home and I've got 4 kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm not relying on the Ohio economy. That's one of the things I'm going to talk about on my webinar, is that I am talking to people in Colorado, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and my conversations with them are dramatically different than the Ohio conversations. The Ohio conversations are like, we got to be off the street by the time the lights come on. I understand this is obviously right. We got to be in by the time the lights come on. We've got a curfew. We got this, we got that. Like I talked to people in Texas, and I got a call today at 2-3 o'clock. The guy's like, no, we've been open for business for 4 or 5 months. Like we're going like gangbusters is the term. Mm-hmm. Are you focusing a lot of your, you said you want to creatively own Youngstown, and I'm kind of paraphrasing. Are your clients predominantly Youngstown based, or are you also outside of our borders in a region?
We're outside. I mean, obviously right now we're local, but we don't want it to stay that way. We want to reach out to those clients beyond. And so, for us, it's like playing catch up, because we're building our own portfolio right now. Even though we've only, been in business for 3 months, it's, we're just like, all right, well, now we got to build this and sell it to other people outside of our area. I think that's our biggest growth area. But, again, we love this market. We know this market. But it's still time that we, in time will branch out and go, a lot bigger.
Yeah. And I think like this whole work from home and just everything being different has sort of leveled the playing field, I feel like, a little bit, to be able to go into more markets than before.
Mm-hmm. So as you look at the marketing without marketing idea, right? Nobody likes to be marketed to, nobody likes to be sold to. What are a few tactical things that you could give me an example, or give our audience an example of, like, you're working with somebody and did you form a Facebook group? Tony, I don't know if Canfield Fair's a passion project or not, but you're doing a podcast with the Canfield Fair. Like, talk to me about tactically, what's something that somebody could take away with, right?
Sure. So podcasts, obviously podcasts are huge. And now it seems like everyone is popping up with a podcast.
Right.
And it actually helps a lot, not, marketing without marketing kind of deal, is you're putting it out there, and it's more that experiential feel. Because right now, like, money's tight for a lot of people. A lot of businesses, money's tight. So if you can offer them an experience, that will sell your product a lot further without really selling a product. And again, like for one of our clients, their early childhood education, we started doing a video series for them where
nice.
A teacher reading a book and then following up with like a lesson the week later. So it's like that kind of content goes a long way. And it's not just for the people that use their services, but it's also for anyone that has kids. So they can go in, check out a story, watch a cool experiment, do it at home. And it's, that recurring content. So
I love the idea. I love the concept. I've worked with the Rich Center for Autism, and one of the things that we did was implemented story time with them. Now, the question I have is, when you talk with a client about that concept, do they ever get into my secret sauce, or I'm worried about my competition, or like, how do you have that conversation? How do you get them to overcome that fear?
Sure, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think the one particular example, no, we didn't really have that fear. Because of just the type of organization they are, they're they're part of a government. So that isn't really one of those. I don't think we've run into an instance of anybody really wanting to like sort of make sure we don't give away all the magic.
Right.
Magic.
Here's what I say to that, right? So Kara Vernal, by the way, says love working with you. And Kelsey, if you're still on, thank you for joining us, K Squared Marketing, who will be a part of a roundtable discussion later in like January, February-ish, part of the DOYO Live.
We love Kelsey.
I look at it like this, and somebody told me this a few years back, a marketing agency in town. They didn't want to, it pained me to say, would you want to speak at DOYO Live? Like, I'm like, oh, I can't believe we just had asked them that question. Like, right? Like, but I'm like, I'm all about like giving everybody the opportunity and like, and I think like if I respect your work, like I want you on that stage to bring my audience value and bring our community value. And the answer I got was like this big dissertation on they had a secret sauce that they didn't know if they felt comfortable with giving that information to the audience. And I laughed at them. And I was like, you do realize everything you know is on Google, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, right.
So Google is commoditized.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to get there faster? I can help you. Do you not have the bandwidth? I can help you. But like, please, like, don't give me I've got my secret sauce. But I do find it sometimes challenging, with various clients that are worried about the content model and like, well, my competition's going to see what we're doing, or my competition's going to, maybe they'll play in that space, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so I have had that. What's that?
I think it's just flattery if they're going to take your idea and do the same thing. So
that's what exactly
goes ahead and does it. Go ahead. We'll make it look a little bit better.
Yeah, as long as you're there first too, that helps. So it's like, hey, we were the originators of this. You guys,
Bobby, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. We've had this conversation a few times on this show, in recent weeks, and so it's interesting. I don't know that there's a lot of original ideas out there, but it's funny when flattery. And you've not. Eventually, you'll get there, right? I mean, people are probably already copying you. But when it comes to the business model and it starts to take money out of your pockets, when it crosses the line of like, I'm not so flattered anymore.
Yeah, right. You son of a bitch.
Yeah. I also think like just that whole idea of like having to talk clients, maybe into things or educate them. I think it also goes back to your idea of like, you want to find the right person that you want to work with.
Yeah.
And we may not be the right fit. If I've got, if it's such a hurdle to overcome getting you to do the right thing, then you aren't the right fit for you.
I love that idea, and I love that topic. So I'm going to challenge you just a bit. You're a new business in a pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we turn down? No.
No.
How selective, like, I mean, right now, like, so I love the idea and I understand what you're saying. And I do, I think everybody aspires to be in that position. How selective can you be? I guess is the question, right?
Right now, no. I don't think anybody in our field can.
No, but the good thing is, like, when we go to a client meeting or we meet with clients, like, we instantly have that connect. We're all about building relationships, and I know everyone says that, but that's what we really are. And meeting with someone for the first couple times, if they already put their trust in us, that's going to help us a lot further. We'll bring them examples of stuff that we want to do for them. say, really go into the content that we want to produce. And, usually it's been working out so far, but people are really into what we're putting out there. And that's, that it just says something about us. And it says something about the people that we're working with, because people right now do want to change, especially as the market's changing too. But, so far it's been working out great for us. So we'll just see if we can keep that, that track record going.
It does. And I'll tell you, my best clients are the ones that have trust and patience.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the ones that do have had a lot of success. It's the ones that, for whatever reason, bring me in, and I'm really honest up front. Like I don't tell people what they want to hear. I think that for some people, that's like kind of like a challenge to them. And then they sign the agreement, then they suddenly become marketing experts.
Mm-hmm.
So something that we did talk about offline that we could talk about online is, why do you think from an organizational standpoint, I wrote a blog one time. It said a lawyer, an accountant, and a marketing professionals all walked into a bar. That was like the title of the blog.
Mm-hmm.
And it went on to talk about how everybody's a marketing expert. I can't do your taxes. Like the IRS would be calling you tomorrow, Tony, if I did your taxes. Adrian, your LLC is going to be really screwed up if I fill out that form for you.
Yes,
yeah.
But everybody's got a night, the color palette, the message, the tactic. Why do you think that marketing's the one area of professional services that everybody's got an opinion?
Yeah. I think because you interact with it so much. You know what I mean? Like, taxes is something you don't think about. I mean, I don't think about them daily. I don't know about other people. I don't want to think about law things daily. But marketing is something you're experiencing and interacting with every single day.
Yeah.
And so I think there's that level of it. And we were just talking about this morning with a client. I never before, until we had the business, really understood clients' desires to do things themselves, marketing wise, like Canva, or do you know what I mean? Like, I can design, let me do Canva, or, we're going to make our site on Wix instead of actually, building a true site. And until we had the business, and you're like, okay, I'm going to try and keep costs down. Can I do my taxes myself? Do I really need an accountant? Let's just go on LegalZoom and operating agreement that way. And then I was like, no, you're doing the thing you get mad at other people for doing. Like, stop it. Like, you don't know what you're doing when it comes to this. You may have opinions about it, but I understand that desire.
Kelsey says I'm going to throw her comment up. It's because they don't actually understand what marketing encompasses. I wish we had a fourth chair. I would send her the link and get her on. But Tony, what's your take? Like, why does everybody got an opinion?
Everyone always has an opinion, especially like what is that they've worked with it so closely and hold it really close, to their heart, and getting in there and showing them, hey, I get what your ideas are, but this is probably a better way of doing that. and showing them that it works, anymore. We have the data that backs up everything that we do, almost instantaneously. And like in social media, you're getting the engagements, you're getting reactions from people, and showing them that works. But then you also got to look at the sales too. Like, are you getting better sales when we started this? So seeing that, it definitely helps. But like what Kelsey just said, marketing encompasses a lot more than just putting an ad out there or running an ad on Facebook. There's a lot of strategy behind it. And if you don't build that strategy going into something, like 2 or 3 months down the road, you're gonna like, all right, well, we ran out of ideas. Now what the hell are we gonna do? We just want to build that strategy that's actually working. We'll test, we'll revise, we'll do better creative. That's our goal. And I think once you show the people that are in marketing at a company, like what you've been doing and how it's working, that way you build, again, that trust and build that relationship to kind of get more freedom in what you want to do for the company. As long as it continues to work, they'll start to trust you a lot more.
Is it a dangerous spot to be when somebody says to you, well, I picked my dry cleaners based upon the fact that I saw the van driving down the street. So the world is like me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never a fan of the surveys of like, how'd you hear about us? I don't know that those actually do anything because, you know, especially when we're putting plans together, there's so many prongs to it. You know, it's not just a billboard, or it's not just a TV spot, or, you know, a social media content strategy, or your website. Like, there's so many prongs to it that it's almost it's the combination of them. So I feel like sometimes people maybe rely on that insight or, you know, hearsay.
To a fault, you know, to a fault. I'm always willing to admit my own shortcomings, but I believe that anything that I do for myself and my clients needs to come from within first, on my web assets, my email, my social media, and then outwardly, and never rely upon traditional media, advertising in general. And I did work with a client that had just a Brinks truck full of money and didn't care how much they spent on TV and radio and newspaper. What I guess place does kind of traditional media at this point do you feel it serves from a marketing and advertising perspective, if any at all? And again, to a fault, I don't believe in any of it. I believe that we, I right. And I, by the way, like, I mean, so anyway, what do you guys think?
I still think traditional has a place. It depends on your budget for sure. And
if I have, okay, that's fair. Go ahead.
I think it definitely depends on your budget, and then I think it depends on what your company is. Yeah. For us, a billboard doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? That is wasted. You know, those are completely wasted dollars. A TV spot doesn't make sense for us, but for other things it does. And I don't know, my TV's on all day because I'm working from home. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are some things that I feel like have sort of, because of the pandemic, also come back in. You know, radio went down because people weren't in their cars. Do you know what I mean? Like, there were some things that have changed, but I think depending on your budget and depending on what you're selling, there is value to it. And also still with direct mail. I know we're all past the point of spraying our mail, I think. No, you're still protecting your mail?
I'm not.
Okay, I don't think I ever did, but some people like left it in the garage for like.
I let it sit out there a couple of days. I'm not gonna lie, but
really?
Well, like 2. You know, remember that first package I got delivered? I was like, I don't want that.
The very first shopping trip I did back in March or April, I brought stuff home and I sprayed all the bags down. And then after I was in the process, I was like, this is stupid. Like, and we kind of went through this with my now 3-year-old. It's been documented. I don't need to go too far into it, but we went through this with my 3-year-old when he had heart surgery. We had to make sure that nobody in the house, he didn't get the flu or a cold, because a baby with a hole in the heart would have killed him. So like, we kind of went through, we set the tone for social distancing before it was ever a thing, right? We're always early.
Cool. Right.
Yeah.
But so I, you know, statistically, right, the Super Bowl's a $2 million 30-second ad. That's not counting the creative and the talent and all that. And statistically, they say like 80% of Super Bowl ads don't convert. Or I'm sorry, right? But like, when you think about that, it means 20%. It's like the weather. It's like 20% does, and there's like 100 million people watching the Super Bowl. Like, could you deal with 20 million new customers like tomorrow? Like, so if I did have obviously an endless budget, you know, I maybe think differently, but I still feel that, like, even with a big budget, what I can do on digital and build my audience and get my message in front of the right people at the right time in my demographic. I'm not relying on and I, by the way, I have like media sponsors, so probably making them very happy. I've rebuilt. I have built. I rebuilt media platforms in Youngstown. Yeah, I'm like, man, like what I could do to build a lookalike audience,
Sure.
On Facebook is really dynamic, and that's why I tend to lean that route.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kelsey,
I agree.
she's just in it today, and I feel bad that traditional reinforces the foundation of the layers. I think people also have the perception, at least locally, that it's a big deal to be on TV and radio. I think it helps to leverage the PR strategy. Again, reinforces and provides synergy for the strategy. Well, I also, it's interesting. I've worked with people that they do feel that way. They feel like traditional media legitimizes them, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I do think for some people they like to see their brand on TV. For sure.
It's an ego spend.
Yeah, and I mean, would I like to see us on TV? Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? Like, I understand it. Like, I get it. And I agree with you. With digital, you can measure like nothing else, right? Like, you can prove down to the second, But I agree with Kelsey. It's about layering those things. It depending on the client and the budget. Preface that. It is about layering those things and layering those strategies. But if you have a limited budget or limited resources, then yeah, I think digital's like your lower hanging fruit that you can definitely start picking away at faster than anything.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right, building that audience. Right.
Yeah.
People struggle with the slog that it takes to build audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And community like this, like people are like, we're probably 300 and I don't know, like we never did the episode thing, but if I did and I had to put a number on it, we're probably like 300 in like 5 or 10 Facebook lives.
Okay.
Over 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a month thing.
It's consistent daily work.
Yeah. And we always like let everyone know, like, hey, this is going to take some time. So, like, at the end of month, right when we start working with you, like, you're not going to see dramatic results. Like, we're building that, and I mean, you obviously slowly see that uptick, but it's not, it's not going to be a miracle. Like once month one's over with, everyone's going to know about you. I mean,
but it is easier and cheaper to tweak your digital strategy than to realize a spot you produced and paid all this money for is off. Do you know what I mean?
Here's my big play too, and I would agree with that. Is that one of the things that people miss on digital is utilizing it as a focus group or messaging strategy, right? So like for $200, you can kind of find out really quickly what message is going to resonate, and then utilize that information into your bigger ad spend, whether that's billboard or TV or whatnot. And a lot of, and I think the other big mistake that people make, that they're not willing to invest in the awareness game. And marketing's always been about the awareness game and impressions. So you said CPM earlier, right? And so, TV and traditional has always relied upon awareness. Digital went the route of, well, we know where the clicks are coming from.
Yeah.
And so they put so much emphasis upon that. And so when people look at their ad spend, they want to know lead gen ROI, and they don't really want to put the money into a Facebook awareness ad, because you got to start someplace, right? Like you got to start. Have you had that conversation with people?
I think, I feel like once you explain it to them, just that like, hey, for this lower dollar amount, we can learn so much, for you. It's not a hard conversation, I feel like, to have. And then I also feel like back to that traditional versus digital and the layering, it also gives you that impression of being everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like when you layer all those things together, it's like, oh my God, every time I turn around, I see you, or I'm hearing about you. So I think that's where that benefit comes in for that too.
All right. So
and that's our goal too.
Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, doing it that way, and then with our creative emphasis on top of it too. Like you said, it's cutting through all the crap that's out there. You're going to see it, you're going to remember it, and that's what we want to do with everyone, with all of our clients. So,
all right, so a couple things to wrap up here. First of all, DOYO Live virtual sessions, 16 weeks of fun marketing how-tos. If you're in business, it's our way of giving back. Try to help businesses get back on their feet is by providing you with free how-tos every Friday at noon from now until April 2nd. We're going to be doing a live webinar. I'm doing one today on what's your lead gen strategy for 2021. This is in the chat. No, that's not in the chat. There we go. It's in the chat. You can sign on to that. Somebody writes, I'm not. We'll give Josh his time in the sun. Broadcast media is still a fantastic mass reach, recall, and image reinforcement. And thank you, Josh. I appreciate the comment. All right, so this is where I get free advice. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, and it's always funny too. Like one time I sat in an hour-long, very basic marketing thing. It's when my office was at the Youngstown Business Incubator, and somebody was like, "You could be running this class, right?" And I was like, "Look, if I get one nugget out of this, that's I'm lucky. Like I don't ever feel like I know enough. I look at working on my website for 7 years. Well, that's not the reality. Is that it took me about 3 weeks to get my website out. It probably looks like it. And then I look at yours and I feel like completely inept. So I have DOYO Live. And that's what kind of like people are like, oh, whether you pronounce it right. And then I've got DennisSchrotti.com, and I pimp myself out for marketing, obviously services, and you can hire me as your contracted, director of marketing. How do I continually push my brand so that people recognize, hey, there's DOYO Dennis, but he actually isn't just the guy that does the marketing conference, right? Especially in pandemic years.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that pushes, obviously, marketing services, contract, right? How do I frame that? What do you do? How do you help me?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't think of you as just DOYO guy. So there's that whole.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
What DOYO? Wait,
yeah.
no.
It's just that. But I think it's pushing out examples of your work that you're doing for other clients, which you are doing. Because I see you, sharing those things and pushing that out there.
I just started that though. Like I never wanted to be about me. I find a lot of agencies like, and please don't take this the wrong way, right? But like, I find a lot of, you have to talk about your work if you're an agency. And I get that.
Right.
I've never done that. Like my list of clients over the past 7 years, if I, kind of go down through the list, you'd be like, holy shit. Like you've worked with the Cafaro Corporation, the largest independent mall developer in the United States, AIM Transportation, the largest independently owned trucking company in the United States, Avalon, the Business Journal. Like there's kind of like I don't want, so I don't, but I don't do that. That's not me. Right. Like it's about my clients.
It's pushing yourself and it's pushing your work. I feel like those are different things.
Right.
I feel like pushing yourself is like a little more selfish. Whereas like your work, I don't know. I feel like those are a little different to me personally.
Yeah. Right. I agree with that. And like showing the success that they got off of your work also kind of, push that message out there a little bit further.
So the challenging part is that I said DOYO would always be that living case study. So like I can't hide 200, 300, 400 people, right? They all showed up for DOYO Live.
Yeah.
So that was my living case study. So I was like, that'll be what I kind of hang my hat on. And then what I've done for X, Y, and Z clients, that's their business.
Yeah.
So more examples, case studies,
Yes.
and not the boring type of case study, but more case studies
Yeah.
of my body of work.
Yeah. I feel like if people knew some of the brands you worked with more, obviously, do you have a crow's hat on today?
Yeah,
I do.
There you go. I almost wore my clever hat today, but my hair is done, so I didn't do it. But there you go, put the hat on.
I like it.
Thank
People
you.
have sent, before the influencer thing was an influencer, people sent me hats to wear on the DO live show.
Hey,
Oh, totally worth it.
yeah. Swag works. I don't care.
It does.
Yeah.
You would probably make a ton selling these because of the
No,
number.
I kind of want to do merch.
Well,
Yeah.
by the way, that's a big play for, that's a big play for a lot of people in like 2021 is like figuring out, like if you've got an audience at this point now, what, besides, like marketing services, like what else could I potentially, put in front of them, right? Like I'm not going to develop a coffee brand tomorrow, but I mean, I drink Folgers, full disclosure. I got 4 kids. Like I can't afford. Like,
Yeah, no, right.
We're the Starbucks.
Unless like Brand Street or Stone Fruit wants to start sending me free coffee to drink on the DLI marketing show, like
Hey.
I gotta do it.
What is that? Did you have your stone fruit mug? Is that what
I
I saw?
do. Yeah.
No.
They're not paying for this either. It's
No.
free plug.
Free advertisement.
Yeah. Swag works. I definitely agree. But yeah, I would say I think push your work more. I think it's important for people to see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Especially given that there is not that big show this year. It's an extended show, but
I put out my own official press release this past week on social media.
yeah.
Yeah. Living true to the form, I went to no media, and I just gave them the big number 1 finger and was like, "Here's my official statement.
Right.
I don't need you."
Kelsey's going to chime in and say PR works. I know it. So
It does.
that also works. It's one of the layers.
She just wants to see Leo, and I don't know where he is. He's running around his house someplace. All right, rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And it's kind of with 2 people on, so we'll rotate it.
Okay.
Pick it.
How's that sound? All right.
All right.
What's on your desk?
What's on my desk? I don't have a desk right now. I am literally I sit on my couch and I work at my couch or my kitchen table or my floor to rim. So a remote and my phone.
Tony.
Baby Yoda, Alexa, my coffee mug, and a notepad, and a mouse.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
iPhone.
Come on.
I feel like it says a lot about a buyer persona when you ask that question. Done.
Yeah,
There's no other statement. That was basically it.
I agree.
Yes.
I can't wait until we can get back to our meetups and do networking events in person, like we do Friday lunches. I want to see you guys in person and hang out. It'll be fun. Rock, rap, or country?
Rap.
That's a tough one. No country. Country's completely out. It's between rap and rock.
I feel like you're more rap now.
I think I've been more rap.
I'm
getting
getting a little more rap now.
can't
You
help
used to be rock, but I feel like you're rap now.
I am anti-country. Like,
Yeah.
but
Are you
now there's
just
a
Kelsey mad?
there's a big disclaimer behind that.
Okay.
I love old country.
Old
Like the
country.
highwaymen, like Waylon Jennings and Hank Jr. Okay. Number 2, I recently became very a big fan of Darius Rucker in his second career.
Yes.
I love what he's doing. Okay. So last book you've read that you'd recommend anybody reads?
Ooh. I just read Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. It's really good.
Saturday Night Ghost Club. I forget the author, but I read it a couple months ago, and it's one of those books that just kind of sits with you. It was really good, really good.
Social media platform that you cannot live without?
Instagram.
I'm old school. Facebook. You know what? MySpace. There we go. Screw it. No.
Am I in your top 8 or top 10? What was it, top 8?
Yeah, it was top 8. Me and Tom still go strong to this day.
Like, they force you to rank your friends. Like, that's crazy.
I know. But you know what? That's people fought for it. That's all that matters. You know?
Swipe left, swipe right. Right? Like,
I don't even know what that means.
You got to get back into ranking. I think Facebook should come back. They should introduce the ranking the friends.
Yes, I agree.
It's got to be.
I have to tell you, this is getting me off topic once again, but like I'm getting very one of my biggest. What's your biggest? This is so. I'll just come up with this one because it's off the script for rapid fire questions. Biggest social media pet peeve.
Everybody thinking they're an influencer.
That and everyone saying "Let's go." Like that's. I don't know why that just came about this week. I don't know why. It's true.
My biggest social media pet peeve is getting lectured in my own feed.
Oh.
Is that happening right now? Is that?
It has happened. It has happened. Yes. All right. So now on Fridays, I've been posting for about the past 3 months very controversial topics on my Facebook feed. I've been making fun of like literally all the political and COVID talk, and that's why I launched it. And it's so funny because like I'm like, would you rather have Pepsi or Coke, beach vacation, mountain vacation? Would you rather be Michael Jackson or Prince for a day? So I've asked very controversial questions, as you can tell, and it's created a lot of debate. Okay. So this is the last question I have for you. I actually have 2 more questions. This question, 1 more. This is very controversial in Youngstown. Oh. And we've been asking this for 4 years on the DOYO Live Marketing Show. Best pizza in Youngstown.
I feel like Tony and I are on the same page.
Yeah, same page.
That's quick.
1, 2, 3. Uptown.
Uptown pizza, man.
100%.
Get it slightly crispy, and you're good.
Yep. Order it crispy.
All right. I can respect that.
I think you disagree.
Yeah, what's your pizza, buddy?
You disagree? And
hey, I'm doing the interview and I'm asking the questions. Elmton was number 1. I have this belief that Struthers actually has the best pizza pound for pound in the entire region.
I agree. Yeah.
So Elmton has been number 1. But then I went to St. A's Bistro, which sounds very, proper. But St. Anthony's in Struthers.
Wait, it's called A's Bistro?
Well, they changed it. They rebranded. All right.
I love it.
Great.
His dude's pizza is incredible. Yeah. Like it's not Youngstown crust. It's not New York. It's in between. It's kind of like a little bit of Roxbury, but like ultimate Briar Hill. That's all I can say. Like I literally woke up this morning thinking to myself, I am ordering 3 pies from St. A's Bistro today.
You better order it now because they've been on a wait list there, man. Like that's
3 o'clock. You got to get your call in.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm literally planning my entire day around this. Never mind the webinar I'm doing in 12 minutes on lead generation.
All right, we're gonna end.
Last question, besides letting you know that I appreciate both of you taking the time out to be on the DOYO Live Marketing Show. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate your advice and wish you all the success in the world. The last question is best piece of business advice you either get or you've given.
Oh,
that's
I don't know that we've gotten much of like. Somebody told me. Oh, hi, Juju. Sorry.
No, I love it.
Say hi.
I got a Hooper. Hooper's named after Matt Hooper, the marine biologist in the movie Jaws that my kids saw a few years ago, 2 weeks before they went to Florida on a vacation.
So they went to the beach.
Nephew babysat. Nephew babysat, and they come home, and I had it at that point 6, 4, and 2. They're like, we just watched Jaws, and their eyes were this big. So it was either going to be Chief Martin Brody, which is an amazing name for a dog, or Hooper after Matt Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss. So it ended up being Hooper. So yeah, we've got a dog as well.
I don't think we've gotten much advice. The only advice I got from somebody was get a good accountant. And I feel like we did. So
Good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
that was the only advice I've gotten. You?
Other than take time to market yourselves, because that's the hardest part is like, we spend all our time marketing other people. And then when we sit down, we're like, well, crap, what do we do for ourselves? But I think we've been on top of it for the most part.
Yeah.
It's the cobbler. That's the shoe reference, right? The guy, and that is the challenging life of being an entrepreneur and the business owner is, and that's why DOYO existed, because it was going to serve as this lead gen tool that was going to help build the brand. And then I didn't know that there was a business behind it. And, so yeah, you're right. Like marketing yourself, but you're doing a good job. Like your website's on point. It looks good. Like I said, it makes me feel inept that when I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, oh, I want my shit to look like that. That's like amazing. So congratulations to you. I'm very happy for the both of you, and give Whitney my best as well. Let's stay in contact.
For sure.
Right?
Sure, man.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
You guys be safe. In 9 minutes, I am starting a 16-week marathon of Friday webinars at noon. We're going to do what's your lead gen strategy for 2021 and topics to follow. Drop on by. Thank you, iSynergy, for sponsoring us. We love you guys. And thank you. Everybody stay safe. Be well. See you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.